Welcome to the Ask a Swim Pro show. My name is Ksebati, co-founder and CEO of MySwimPro, and today I'm joined by Ambassador Julie. What's going on?
Hi, good morning, Ferris. I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. We're at home. It looks like quarantine, so we're excited to be speaking digitally via video call, which is really, it's a little bit different. You know, we've done a couple of interviews in person, and I'll be sure that if you guys are watching or listening, those are going to be linked in the description. So Julie's got a really inspiring story and a lot of insights that she can share with everyone. So check out those other two interviews linked in description. But it's 2020. The world is in a chaotic place. So give us an update on where you're at, what's going on with life.
Yeah, so I started off the year just with a couple of USA meets, and I was swimming at Speedo sectionals about over a month ago in Florida. Then I spent some time in Florida just kind of relaxing a bit, taking a little break from swimming after the meet, not expecting such a long break, and had to cut my trip early because of the chaos right now, and flew back home to Portland, Oregon, and just kind of hanging out here. Every day feels the same, but just taking it day by day right now.
Mm-hmm. And so just a little bit of background for everyone watching. So you mentioned you've taken a 10-year break away from the pool. And so, we don't want this to be a 10-year break, but, how can you what are some of the things that you've learned from taking a break? Well, why did you take a break? What are some of the things that you learned from that, and maybe how you're applying that now?
Yeah, sure. So in high school, like when I was 16, my left shoulder just started having problems. And, I struggled with shoulder issues for a few years leading into freshman year of college. And, within 2 months on my college swim team, my shoulder blew out. So I decided, take a break from swimming. I got my first shoulder surgery, and just decided to focus on my academics and my career, which, I don't regret that. I'm very happy I did, because it led me to where I am today, and I couldn't be more thrilled about that. So the 10-year break, I was living in New York City at the time, and just, having fun with my friends and life, and, working hard in my career. So I was just so focused on that so, I didn't even think about swimming. I hardly got into the pool, but I kept up with the gym, lifting, ran some 5Ks, half marathons, just kind of stayed in shape and healthy as I could in my free time. And then eventually I got back to master synchronized swimming in New York City. And then eventually when I moved to Orlando, Florida, I got back into competitive swimming. So the 10-year break flew by, but, I was pretty occupied with life in general, and kind of having this, uncertain time, happening, and who knows how long it'll be. I can transition easily, just mentally and physically back to kind of what I used to do many years ago. Mm-hmm. I'm very adaptable in that way, where, it's like, okay, I've had many hiccups along my swimming career with injuries where I'm out of the pool for a certain time. So I'm kind of mentally, framing everything to like, okay, it's temporary. I'm going to get back eventually, and, it'll be a little work, a couple months to get back endurance and strength with the upper body. But, so that's how I'm managing the thought process right now, looking back at my past 10-year break.
Sure. What advice do you have for swimmers who are sort of lost right now still? It's been a fair amount of time that we've been away from the pool, but some people still maybe haven't gotten over that their championship meet in 2020, it didn't happen. It's not going to happen. Next year is something to look forward to. But, they're still mentally lost. Like, how do you communicate, empathize with that?
Yeah, it's okay to feel lost. We all kind of feel lost in our own little ways, and it's fine. We're not going to have all the right answers. We're not going to have that fulfillment, which we would have had if we had those big meets and championships. I would say, mentally, just this is a great opportunity to focus on other areas of your life. Like, yes, we aren't able to go out or travel or have fun with family or friends outside the house, but find some other new hobbies or interesting things to do. Like, I found some free courses on MIT online where I'm going through some of the business classes, just enhancing knowledge. And that's something where with the full-time corporate job and then training after the full-time job, I don't have a lot of time for anything else. Or on the weekends after I train, it's like I'm just too exhausted for anything else. So take this opportunity to maybe if you're resting, if you find something else that keeps you productive, even if it's cleaning, video games, which I've been playing a lot of Animal Crossing and
okay.
catching up on the Candy Crush saga, which I know was big many years ago.
Coming back.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Just kind of help with the boredom, but find something that keeps you happy. It takes you through day to day, kind of takes you mentally in a different place where you can find joy and kind of distract yourself away from all those negative thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. You mentioned something really interesting about learning like a new skill, take it as an opportunity, the MIT classes. I think that's super important. I mean, if you're not training 20 hours a week or 10 hours a week, maybe you're only training 5 hours a week. What are you doing with that extra 10 to 15 hours a week? So it's great to hear that you're still, you're improving upon yourself, even if it's not a swimming thing necessarily. I think that's really cool, and that's inspiring for a lot of people. I'm curious, for training and staying in shape, what are some things that you're doing? And I think everyone wants to hear like some different swimming specific dryland training that you recommend.
Yeah, so after I took a little break after Speedo sectionals last month, I finally got back into some dryland stuff. I've been doing a lot of core workouts. I know for sprinting, like core is a huge kind of focus, and my favorite is doing the Supermans.
Oh, nice.
Like laying just on the floor, and then since your arms are raised, like I would do kind of the pull downs and then the straight arm rotations back and forth. Especially keeping the shoulders and kind of like the upper body strong and limber as well with the resistance cords, because I don't want to lose kind of progress that I've made in my shoulder in physical therapy. Couple years after surgery, so keeping the rotator cuffs healthy with all the different core and exercises. But I'm doing a lot with kind of like little dryland speed work. A lot of focus on calves, which is my weak point, because you don't really use your calves except for pushing off the block or the wall. So hopefully all this work with the calves will help with my more explosive starts, which need much help. And focusing on a lot of just squats as well, keeping the legs strong, especially keeping that strong kick once I'm able to get back in the water. I mean, that's huge in swimming. So just keeping the upper body, the core, and the legs strong. So I'll take different days focus, like a core day, or I'll mix core and upper body. And then I have kind of like a leg day as well. So kind of similar with my regular routine, like swim, gym, legs at the gym or upper body at the gym, just trying to find a routine at home that is consistent and focuses on the main points.
Nice. How often are you doing the shoulder stuff? So this is something that a lot of swimmers ask us, whether they've injured their shoulder or they're recovering, or they don't want to injure their shoulder and they're doing injury prevention. You've kind of been through a lot with that. So what's your frequency and like maybe more specific shoulder things that you like to do?
Yeah, so I do upper body 3 times a week. Currently, I would say, previously I would do kind of upper body strength probably once or twice a week, but my kind of physical therapy exercises for my shoulder, rotator cuff, 3 times a week. So I'm just stuck with that 3 times a week now.
Mhm.
So I do a lot, like holding the band, rotating down for, keep that rotator cuff strong, and then also taking the band from the front and pulling up.
Mhm.
And this tends to bother my chronic tear in my shoulder. So it's something where I have to keep the resistance light just so
Yeah.
I don't, aggravate anything, and do that very carefully and slowly.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I'm doing kind of like the in and out
Yep.
rotations with the bands. And then I use it to pull down my triceps as well.
Mhm.
And then I hang the cords over the door and do some kind of like lat pull downs. It's
Mhm.
not, heavy resistance as I would like, but
Mhm.
just to keep the lats, worked and engaged during this time, I think is huge, because that's an area, I know I will lose some muscle mass, but, that's okay as long as I can keep some of those, main muscle areas that we use in swimming kind of activated.
Mhm.
Will help in the
Yeah,
meantime.
definitely. You mentioned the band pulls for lats. It's not as much resistance as you want, but you also mentioned when you're doing the shoulder stability things, you try intentionally not to have a lot of resistance. I think that's a really important point, because sometimes, especially I see people in the gym or on swimming pool decks, and they're trying to crank way too much for like internal, external rotations. And like, no, what are you doing? It's a slow and controlled, like technique is way more important than the amount of resistance you do. What's your favorite? You mentioned a couple. Are those your favorite shoulder stability things? The internal, external rotations,
Yeah.
and nice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really stray too far from those. It's something years of physical therapy,
Yeah.
they have to do, and I just keep doing. Um, Especially like when I'm able to go to the gym, I would take the free weight and kind of have the rolled up towel on my
Yep.
side and lay down and use the free weight,
Hmm.
like 5 pounds, and go up and down. And then as the muscles get more tired, I'll try to keep the quality, but maybe reduce the quantity. And, something now where you can take kind of like a heavy water bottle and
Yeah.
do that now. So,
Heavy water bottle or a can of soup. It's a good hack. If you want
oh
some
yeah,
extra resistance, get a bigger soup or something. Use the household items.
yeah,
What's
definitely.
Speaking of household items, so what's your favorite piece of equipment in the gym, and then separate from in the gym, like at home? What's your favorite at home piece of equipment?
Yeah, so for like the single leg, I would say deadlifts, I took a big duffel bag and filled it with water bottles.
Oh,
It's very squeaky, the plastic, but
yeah.
it does the job well. So it's about, I think, 30, 40 pounds.
Oh, wow.
So
That's
I
a real
hold it
weight.
in one hand. Yeah, I mean, it's similar weight that I use in the gym, so I'm happy I could replicate that in a way. And even though it's, larger, I don't get as far down as I would like
Yeah.
during that single leg deadlift. It still, works the same muscles the same way. Then I've also found a big jar of my peanut butter filled pretzels from Costco. And it's 3 pounds and has like a grip on the back. So I'm able to use that and, some like smaller arm movements. And when I
Wow.
do finish the pretzels, I might fill that up with water, and hopefully the cap is on tight enough where I
Yeah.
can.
That's
Um,
really funny. That's so innovative. Like so like take luggage and throw it with water bottles. I like it. That's good. And then
yeah, and
yeah.
I also filled a little backpack with 4 large jars of applesauce. They're plastic, and then I stuffed my pull buoy in the backpack as long as with my towel, just so it fills up the empty space. And I use that for like the kettlebell swing.
Oh, wow.
So I think
Really
the
cool.
applesauce is around like 8 pounds. So it
Dang.
may hit something. It's not, a similar grip as you would get with the kettlebell, but it's
Yeah, for
something.
sure. I mean,
Yeah.
really, it takes the concept of no pool, no excuses, no gym, no excuses. Like use anything at your disposal to move the weight around. What about in like a more normal gym setting? What's your favorite type of out of water training?
Ooh, I mean, I love weightlifting. I love using the barbell, the weight rack to do squats. It's something where I just feel, very powerful. Um, and it's like sometimes after, a hard day, if I'm stressful, I love just going to the weight rack and just doing a bunch of squats. So I think that would be my favorite.
Nice. Yeah, barbell does wonders, especially because
Okay.
you're total. It's not like a Smith machine where it's guided weight, and then like when you have the bar or dumbbells, totally different. Or better yet, just a backpack filled with stuff. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
either,
yeah. You can
either
do
one
so
will
much.
work. Either one will work. Sweet. So, what are you looking forward to? I guess we're working through this odd period right now at home, working out with duffel bags, whatever. But after this, what are you looking forward to? Maybe next year or beyond, like longer term view of your swimming.
Yeah, I mean, once pools and gyms reopen, I'm not planning on going back right away. My health comes first, and so I'm gonna be very careful in that decision of when to go back. And once I am able to get back in the gym and pool, I'm gonna go back slowly. I've seen after I've taken some, like a few weeks to a month break after large swim meets. If I go back too fast, I will have more injuries. So that's something I have to be very careful about. So I think my goals when I first get back is, work on some endurance, get the endurance back that I've lost, and just kind of focus on my 50 free. For of course technique, make sure I didn't lose anything, and just focus on the 50 free, and then slowly introduce fly again and build up my endurance to the 100 free. So just kind of in a little progression order.
Yeah, I think what you just mentioned about not jumping into it too fast is super important. It needs to be highlighted because we've seen it like in MySwimPro. A lot of people, they jump into something and they crank out way too much swimming on day one, and then like they either get burned out or get injured. And like I think we've all been there to some extent, but I think this is going to be a real test for a lot of swimmers because a lot of people have never taken 3 months off or sort of in a long time. So I think it's really important to go gradually. What would be success for you in the short term when you do start getting back into it? So like, what does the first week look like, or the first month? Like how fast what does a gradual entry look like for you?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that's a good question. If I can finish a total of a mile in the pool, that would be great in the first week. I mean, I'm not gonna just start sprints right away. I'm
Yep.
just gonna, take my time, get the feel for the water again, work on the technique. And for me, it's of course the high elbow and making sure my body alignment
Mhm.
is where it should be. That's something I've been working on my coach the past few months is body alignment. So I think just going back to the basics first, and then slowly start some sprints. Just here and there sprinkled. I'm not going to go too crazy. And then once I feel more comfortable, then slowly start, adding like, okay, if I've done a total of like 200 yards or meter sprints, I might do 300 to 400 next week. Especially with my shoulder getting back in. I don't want that chronic tear to get aggravated and I'm out of the pool again. So I think just adding on bits weekly helps.
Yeah. And I think what you mentioned about going back to the basics and focusing on technique is super important because this is really a great opportunity for all swimmers of any level to set the good foundation in, where maybe you had like, I see a lot of swimmers like bad habits, and then now you get a break. And then when you come back into it, to set the good foundation and build the right habits and gradually build over time. So we look forward to that day. We're not sure when it will be, but at some point it will happen. And when we do, it's going to be really exciting to jump back in the water. Julie, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us on the Ask a Swim Coach show. Wishing you the best. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Thank you. You as well, Ferris. Take care.